Hey guys, Ginger here. Welcome back to my channel, and today I'm bringing you guys 7 of my Stephen King recommendations. If you didn't already know, I love Stephen King, and I love his writing, and I love his books. I have not read all of them yet, but I plan to in my lifetime. So I have here 7 of my favorite Stephen King books, which even that, it's like I could probably recommend every single one I've read so far, but I picked 7 of them to bring and share with you guys today because Stephen King is great, and if you haven't read any of his books or you're looking for more to read, then I got you covered because he's a great author and you should definitely read some. So I'm just gonna start with my pile and go from the top and go on. So let's just start. The first one I have here is Different Seasons, and this is actually a short story collection, and overall this is great, and it has, I'm losing all my books. It has 4 short stories in it, including The Shawshank Redemption and The Body, which is based, well, which is what the movie Stand By Me was based off of. So that alone should get you wanting to read this, and even though the other 2 short stories in here weren't necessarily my favorite of all time, this is one of his more iconic short story collections, and if you're looking to read some of King but in smaller quantities, then I would recommend you pick this one up. The next and second one on this list is Salem's Lot by Stephen King, and this is a classic vampire story written by the King himself, and this is just a very classic horror book. This was his second book. Not second. This was one of his first books. Maybe it was second. I don't remember. Go watch Natasha's channel, which I will link below. She has a lot of Stephen King information too. But this vampires and small town vibes, great setting development, and you know, some character development that is great, and it has some twists that I was not expecting, so kudos to that. But if vampire novels are something that you're into, or you're looking to get on the more horror side of King, then I would recommend you pick this one up. The next one on this list is Cujo, and if you didn't already know, this is about a rabid dog running amok in a town, or at least that's probably what you've heard, even though a lot of the story isn't necessarily about that. It is the rising action to this happening. But with that being said, that rising action is very well written, as King does, and whenever the climax does happen, it is very well done and kind of horrific, and especially if you are someone who is more horrified by real life dangers, there's nothing supernatural in this book. It is all realistic and things that could happen. So if you are more into that kind of thing, then I would pick up Cujo. But if you like dogs, then maybe not, because, I mean, obviously, Cujo gets rabies, so be warned. The next book on this list also has to do with animals in a way, and that is Pet Sematary, which also just came out as a new movie, and I would personally not recommend seeing that. If you want the more realistic Pet Sematary experience, I would watch the original movie because it is more based off of the book. I haven't seen the new Pet Sematary, but from what I've heard from my friends who have, it is very much unlike this, and this is way better in my opinion. So if you didn't already know, Pet Sematary is about a family that moves to a new house in Maine, I believe, because that's, you know, where all of King's books take place. And so, but they discover that there's a pet cemetery on their property, and this pet cemetery comes in handy later when the family cat ends up being hit by a car, and supernatural things start to happen surrounding this pet cemetery. And again, this is a classic horror book of King's, and I absolutely loved it, and could not recommend it more. I don't know if you're seeing a theme here, but loving Stephen King books is a thing. What book am I on? The 5th the fifth book on this list, yes, is The Shining. And again, this is one of his classic horror novels. This is about a family who goes and watches a hotel in the wintertime, and there is some scary things that go on. And again, just a classic King novel, very fun to read, very classic horror, and just a wonderful character development, and making it a creepy atmosphere. King just is such a phenomenal writer. I cannot say that enough. But again, one of his more classic horror stories, and if you are looking for one that is more psychological with some supernatural-ish elements, then this one would be the one for you. And then the last two I have here are probably the highest ranking Kings on this list, but they are also the longest Kings on this list. So the first one I have here is The Stand, and this is a dystopian novel with a epic tale of good and evil. And yeah, this book is giant, but because of that, there is great character development, great plot, just phenomenal setting detail, and just I love these characters. I love this plot in this book. And when you're done reading this, you can go watch the 4-part miniseries that's out there, and it's also great. So this just gives me spooky vibes. It has a mix of possible realistic apocalyptic kind of thing, and also a mix of King's, you know, fantasy kind of element. But it's just a great novel of, you know, if a plague took over and killed a bunch of the population, and, you know, what the people had to do in the end. So again, I could not recommend this enough, and please read the uncut version if you do pick this up, because it is how King intended it to be. So yeah, The Stand. Can you guys guess what the last book is? I mean, it's the only one I have that isn't a mass market paperback in this pile, and I don't even have the what's it called, dust jacket for this anymore. I don't know what happened to it. And this is a super old version, and I really want to get the new cover that is white with the, you know, clown on it. I just think that's a stunning cover, but it is it, if you didn't already know. I really like this, and this is what the side looks like. But it also just came out with a movie, so if you don't already know what it is about, then I'm surprised. But it is about a group of kids, and they end up meeting the town's worst nightmare, so to speak. And what I love about this book is the group of characters are such a strong element, and how King writes them and their connection with each other is so wonderful. And like, this is a classic horror novel, but if you like Stranger Things, if you like, you know, books with very good groups of friends, then this is definitely a book for you, because even though there is horror aspects, the power of friendship, so to speak, is very, very prominent in this book, and one of the main reasons that I love it so. And I just got so attached to them, and by the end, when I finished this book for the first time, I could not bring myself to read anything else, because I was at a loss that I was done with the journey of my characters. So yeah, be warned that when you read this, that might happen to you too. So there you have it, friends. These are my recommendations, my Stephen King recommendations. If I can get them all in a pile here, maybe I'll show them to you guys again. Maybe. Ah, I did it. Yay. Okay, so yes, let me know in the comments below if there's any more King that you think I should push to the forefront of my TBR, because I have a lot of them and I'm excited to read more. But obviously these are probably some of the more well-known ones that you have heard of, because they just are. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button to see more of my content in the future. But until then, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!